Good evening and welcome to your favorite sports program on a Thursday night. And I am Lockett Sebastian. With me is
Ron Lander
and
Dr. Thompson Fontaine, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. We haven't seen Emmanuel Loblack. We don't know what's happening to him. We don't know if he went to the grocery store and he got trapped. I mean, we're not in Florida, so he should be okay. There's no bad weather in where he is. But anyway, tonight we're going to focus on cricket. I mean, we will have Andrew Mason and Philo Wallace with us. We're going to discuss the recently completed CPL. We have Test cricket going on in Pakistan, making treble century in quick time, almost a run-up ball, 317 runs in 322 balls. West Indies women, they won today in the Ladies World Cup. They have an important match next Tuesday against England. They have to win so that they can make the semi-finals. We have West Indies in Sri Lanka as well. So plenty of cricket all around the world. We also going to talk about football. We're supposed to be speaking to the national coach, but they're practicing at the time, in fact, at this time. So we'll not be able to speak to him, but we'll have Abby Lawrence to tell us about a press conference they had this week. So a lot of sports for everybody. So everybody stay tuned. We're going to give you a good program tonight. And first, let me say good night to Mr. St. Havis Shillingford. I mean, he how I'll say it, back home after spending some time up in Goodwill, another place you want to go. But thank God he's back home. Look, all right, look very much. I spent some time with him yesterday and it's good. And St. H, good night. Good night to you. And why talk about St. H? Sometimes we have to say, elderly, you know, the older people, I would say. Some people don't like the word elderly. The older folk, people like Ozzy Lewis, Edison James, Ron Green, Julius Corbett in Florida. I mean, all these people, we have to say, because Dodol, Ronald, we can't forget Dodol. He always drinks his coffee on the first day. And while we ailing up people, let me say good night to Jean Faustin and Angela up in Boston and Vivian. Lobby, good night, by the way. Good night to Judge.
Good night, brother. Happy to see you. You're
well, I just said to Ronald's godfather, in fact, he reminded me of that yesterday, Ronald. Heavy Shillingford. He back home, Robbie, he spent some time up in that building in Goodwill, another place you want to be, eh?
Well, Sebastian, some of us will be there and stay there. Some of us will return home. And Heavy is a man of deep faith.
And he looked, well, I tell you, I spent some time, he looked very good. Spent some time with him, he looked very good. In fact, he listened to last Thursday, he missed last Thursday because he was up in that building in Goodwill. So,
I'm happy that he's back home.
Yeah, he's back home. I mean, I say he's back home. Good evening, people like Blue and Lucille. These people always listen. I mean, Pat and Gerald Cobbett in Portsmouth, Bloaters, and Rick Joseph, all these people. But Rumpel, I know the lady always bawling about her money, and I don't know why they wouldn't pay the lady. I just don't understand it. Maybe they don't have money. I don't know. I just say people in Salisbury like Feckler, good night, and Wivel, and Ann and Hess, all these people. People in the valley, Miss Geraldine, don't go to the market anymore. Are you all right, ma'am? Good night. Well, yes, we can't forget our lady in Wall House, our tennis correspondent. Good night to you. I almost forgot you. Good night. Can't forget you at all. Good night. Dawn Sims, we can't forget her. A person who has supplied Sports Wrap with
some goodies.
She's been very good. Quality goodies. And look, let me saying quality goodies, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Okay, guys. You know, last week I had a press conference, guys, and we have somebody already on the line. We wanted to, let's take the caller quickly. Good evening.
Good to have you back, Sibo. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Auntie Rome, and all who are listening tonight.
Thank
Ronald,
you.
Give me a break tonight, Ronald.
By the way, he's looking very, very young. He took a haircut, looking like a very, very young tonight.
You?
No, Ronald Lander, can you not see him? He looks very, very young.
You looking young tonight? What?
Ronald Lander, he took a haircut.
Come out, man.
Yeah, he's looking like a teenager.
Good night, Lavinia. Good night, Lavinia.
Yes.
You mean to tell me your godson had such a tragic accident, Sibo. Sibo, your godson died, Sibo. All what they call to help him, he couldn't revive
No,
and
before you go,
survive.
careful because people think it's my godson. Say it properly because not I know what you're talking about, but it's not.
Sibo, give
Yeah.
me a breakfast to put what's in my
No, but people might know what you're talking about. People might think it's really my godson.
Okay, Sibo, our godson died.
Okay.
Our godson died. Sibo, you love people so much. You love people. And to say our godson died. Sibo, what you had to do overseas or wherever you had to go, you couldn't be at your godson funeral, Sibo. Sibo, firemen from St. Lucia came down to be at your godson funeral, at the godson funeral, and you couldn't be at the godson funeral? Ah, Magwe, sir. So we come anyway, your foot will be out of our neck. You can't do that again. Out you go. Bye-bye.
Okay, cool. Yes, I was saying I heard another caller. Oh my goodness. Good night. Good evening.
Well, good afternoon to all. Welcome, Sibo.
Thank you. Thank
Welcome
you.
back.
Thank you.
Let
Thank
me
you.
say something there.
Go ahead.
I hear you say Mr. Shillingford came from up there in Goodwill, no name, no more. And he looking well.
Yes.
But we have a vagrant, he doing work for us in our area, little work like weeding and everything. Every time he go up there or in jail, he coming back fat. But last week when he come out, he wasn't looking fat. I say, what happened to you? How come you looking like that? You always looking nice when you go. He said, me 1 meal they giving people up there nowadays. I haven't got much food.
Yeah, but I'm coming to this thing, Dr. Fountain, you in particular. I heard a press conference last week, and I heard talk about where if the CBI fails, people, the NEP will suffer. And, I want to deal with this NEP thing, And I'm saying to you, Dr. Fountain, when you become Prime Minister, don't look at the other. The NEP must not be used as a mechanism for a party in power to pay people for votes. And by that I mean, I challenge anybody to tell me the total amount of any people around the island. You will get 20 people that are not licking, how to say it, of labor. 20 people. Because what has happened is that a rep in an area, he supplies 20 people, the names of 20 people, all of them. You give them $500 and you make sure they vote for you next election. The NEP must not be a corrupt thing where it is used by a party in power to continue paying people for votes. And what also happens, there are businesses where NEP, the people are paid from the state, and the owners of the businesses will have their profits because the people are not paid from the business. They are paid by the state's NEP. And it is wrong, wrong, wrong. And I'm saying, UWP, Dr. Fong, become Prime Minister, it mustn't be like you use that thing as a mechanism to pay people for their votes. I said, nothing wrong in employing people NEP, nothing wrong that people need a job, but do it right. Be fair. Don't just say you give your supporters NEP every month, or whenever you get it, they're getting paid probably every 3 months, and then others not. It is not fair. Yes, Dr. Fountain.
Yes, Sibo, I mean, I can't agree with you more, the important thing to know that this is a program that has been funded by taxpayer dollars, and you cannot use taxpayer dollars for strictly artisan, party political gain. It is wrong. I agree. And really, in terms of the fairness of the program, that's one thing. It should be open to all Dominicans. Secondly, it is not a good program in the sense that it is not giving people skills, lifelong skills. It's not creating opportunities for upward mobility. It is such that people can use those to go to a bank and get a loan. So there's a lot that is wrong with it. But I also wanted to make another point. We will, as a party in power, we will certainly be looking to revamp this in a way that we can create skills for people, in a way that they can become a good means of progression, upward progression. It should not be just a situation where you just give people a few just so you keep them to vote for you. That is wrong. That is wrong. And I heard the Prime Minister saying that our intention is to stop his CBI program. We've made it fundamentally clear. And you heard the attorney, Ram Logan from Trinidad. He was very clear. We are not asking to stop the program. All we're asking the bank to do is to get the accounting. In other words, tell us where the monies are then. We know that these passports have been sold by the tens of thousands. Where is the money from those passports? What accounts they are in? And so on, and how we can get this money back into the treasury. That's all we're asking. Nothing about stopping the program. So it's a categorical lie that we're trying to stop the program. What we're asking the court will in no way, absolutely no way stop the program. What we're asking the court is that we need to account for this money according to the laws of Dominica, which states clearly that all monies owned or earned by the government must come through the consolidated fund. And that's as simple as it is. Nothing more, nothing less.
Ronald, you want to? Yeah.
Yes. Looking at the NEP is a strange setup where CBI monies are used to pay young people with talent that can be used to add value to Dominica to do basic work. As a young public officer, I used to go on the road paying public works officers all over Dominica. And the quality of work that public works used to do all over Dominica far exceeds what the NEP is doing. But the usual mismanagement of the country, the government got rid of the public works. The government got rid of the public works, and now you have NEP. I see a lot of young, talented people who could make a bigger contribution elsewhere are on the roads doing the kind of work that the public works used to do. We used to go to the bank with our check, collect monies, put it in pay packets, and go all over the country. I went all over the country paying persons, public workers from public works for maintaining our systems. And that was done so efficiently. Now, you look around and you see Dominica is crumbling. I don't understand. And the PM is saying that is using CBI money to pay the people in NEP. And if CBI is challenged, NEP workers will not get any form of income. In times gone by, that same type of work was done with resources generated from Dominica. We were producing in Dominica. So we had resources in Dominica to take care of those services. Unfortunately, we are not producing anything in Dominica at this point in time. You look at agriculture. What are we exporting? What's our main export? Look at tourism. Look at cruise tourism. We just opened the new cruise tourism season, and a cruise ship came in yesterday, arrived in Roseau, and after 25 years, people arriving in a facility with tents, and a dilapidated hotel looking them in their face. 5 years, the Gary Hotel has been closed down for, and you arrive and you see the Gary Hotel right in your face. And we have so much CBI money. Why by now we don't have a cruise ship facility? We're way ahead of St. Kitts. Thompson did some work in St. Kitts. We're way ahead of St. Kitts. And St. Kitts has built Port Zante. St. Kitts doesn't have no kind of attraction like Dominica. A fella gave me a joke that he put a chicken in his oven and he had some friends and went to do a tour all over St. Kitts. And he came back home and the chicken wasn't baked as yet. There is nothing to see in St. Kitts. Yet St. Kitts have built Port Zante and up to a million visitors into St. Kitts, and Dominica is still at 200,000, 300,000.
Magwesa.
Let's take a caller. Good evening. Hello?
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Yeah.
I wanted to find out, I want to hear Steve talk about his opinion on Kavem Hodge being signed up as a player for the West Indies cricket senior team.
Say it again?
I would like to hear Steve's reaction to Kavem Hodge being signed up as a senior player to the West Indies cricket team.
When you say signed up, what do you mean?
When you say
signed up, what do you mean?
Caller, we'll come to that later.
You're already talking cricket later. When we come to cricket, we have a whole hour on cricket, so we will deal with that, okay?
He was awarded a 1-year international contract.
Is that what you're referring to, the 1 year?
The 1-year international contract that he was awarded?
Is this a sports program?
Second?
Is this a sports program?
Yeah, but what I'm saying, we're going to be dealing with cricket for a whole hour from 7 o'clock.
So why aren't you all speaking about sports?
So so you have a problem with what we're speaking about now?
Tell him you'll deal with this question.
Do you have a problem with what we're speaking about now?
Yeah, but this is not sports.
Yeah, but our program, we talk about everything on our program. Everything is an interactive program. We talk about everything on this program. So I don't think you should be so annoyed about what we're talking about now. Okay, let's move on. Huh? What?
There's no point.
Hold on. What did you say?
I was hoping to hear sports.
So listen, politics affects everything that happens in Dominica, my brother. Every single thing, politics. So anything, even sport. Huh?
I'm looking for sports.
Okay, you hear sports. Good night. Thank you very much for calling. You see?
My brother, apparently don't listen to this program.
Well, exactly.
Because for the first 15, 20 minutes, we deal with current issues.
For about 10 years that have been going on.
And then we go into sports. We deal with sports in great detail, all different sports in Dominica. So you have not been listening to that program.
But what happens, some people cannot take what has been discussed. They cannot take it. That's what happened. It hits them. The truth hits them. That's what happened.
Thibault.
Yes, Lobby.
You just had to tell the caller, we have not been able to host any international game, you know.
I'm sure whoever is calling, he knows that. And then he must talk about that they have cricket all around the Caribbean, none in Dominican. He's not saying anything about that. That's what the caller must talk about. We can't see cricket in Dominica. Everywhere else, they're playing cricket. Look, Guyana going to have some new thing coming up, all that kind of thing. We have a caller. Good evening. Hello? Hello? We're not hearing you, caller. Hello?
You hear me?
Go ahead. We're hearing you now. Yeah.
I said, when I was a little boy, my grandmother told me that one of the great unionists of the team said that if capitalists ever take control and care of this country, babies in the stomach will fill it. But I'm saying no. These poor and greedy men take control in this country, or they take control of this country. What eventually will happen is that the great-grand babies and great-great-grandbabies is finished. But I can remember my grandmother was saying, the boy, one of the great leaders of the DCU. And you have one of the members when they're talking and so on. She told me, and she was saying, not telling me, she was saying it. At the first, but if you make capitalist in the country, babies is finished. But now I'm feeling that these poor men and greedy men and insatiable men take control and they take control of the country. The great-great-grand babies is finished.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. Yeah, what you were saying is that babies, even babies in their stomach will feel it in Dominica. Good night, caller. We lost that caller. Another caller. Good evening. Hello? Hello?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I just want to digress a little. I hear news on YouTube. I don't know how true is this. The TD Bank of America was the DOJ, Department of Justice, found guilty for money laundering and put a fine of $3 billion. I don't know if it's
Dr. Fontaine, I'm sure can respond to that.
That's the latest news.
Dr. Fontaine, you heard the caller?
Which bank did he say?
Which bank are you referring to?
CD Bank.
CD Bank, he said.
CD Bank.
T like in tree? T like in tree?
Huh?
T like in tree, TV. What are you saying? What's the name?
Oh, TD Bank.
What
TD
bank are you saying? Huh?
It was the TD Bank.
TV Bank, yeah. Well, Dr. Fontaine probably can respond now.
Okay, right.
Yes, yes, it is true. They actually pleaded guilty to money laundering charges, and they were slapped with a $1.8 billion penalty. Yeah,
What? But
it is
Dr.
true.
Fountain, you think they can pay that? You think they have all this?
Yeah,
They
of
can pay
course,
that?
of
Huh?
course. They would not assign a penalty that they cannot afford. These banks can pay that. That's one of the bigger banks in the United States, rivaling Bank of America and Citi and Chase. So
Mhm.
it is right there with those big banks. It can pay that.
That's a hefty fine. I mean, a
Yeah,
$1.8
it
billion.
is. It is. I mean, it is. It is. So in fact, the 1.8 might even they're saying that it could go up to 3 billion
My
in
goodness.
dollars, and then also they're limiting their growth within the U.S. market. And part of the problem is that they claim that they were laundering money mainly for the drug cartels and other criminal groups, and as a result of that, they really, because that's we saw some of those banks sometimes knowingly do it. They know that this is criminal, but then it pays out for them, because they can make huge, returns on those because they can reinvest these deposits, make interest on it, and that's how they make their money. So sometimes the banks do that, knowing that they should be asking more questions about their customers and so on, so it's really a big fine, but it is not too big, for them. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a call on the line. Good evening.
Yeah, just to add what the doctor said, all together it amounts to 3 billion.
Yes,
Altogether,
it amounts to 3 billion. Yes, it can go up to 3 billion. Correct. Yes.
That is a hefty sum. $3 billion. That bank will go on there after a while. I mean,
No. It's not. It's not going to go on the CBO. It has. Trust me.
Wow.
It's not. It's not. It has. This bank's assets is in the trillions of dollars. So
My goodness. And as we talk about things, the other thing we have to talk about, you see this rapid response thing in Dominica too, is another area of concern. Is something that has to be looked at. This rapid response thing, it allows for corruption and all sorts of underarm things. This rapid response thing. I'm sure you guys have heard of it, eh?
Sibo,
Yes.
I don't know. Something else I just want to talk about also. It has to do something that I must talk about that and continue talking about that. I will never stop talking about it as long as I'm on this program. All right. It has to do with track and field, Sebastian. And we saw in St. Lucia the celebration that went on for Alfred. They have decided that that they're going to organize an international meet on I forget the date, but every year this meet will be in her honor. All right, and they've done a lot of things, but here I'm talking about Dominica. I think last week, I'll come back last week. We had the president of the Free Is, Brendan, and he speaks about, when I talk about the track, he speaks about in discussion. They are in discussion. Remember what they said next year. We are in the month just now. The year finishes soon, and I want to see movements. If somebody comes to talking about a track, gentlemen, this thing about discussion must stop. I want to hear. We're talking about point wrong. All right.
Well, they must pay the people for their land first. By the way, they must pay the people for their land first.
But
hold on now. Let's take the caller. Good evening.
Hey, good evening, Sibo.
Yes, good evening. Very good. Boy, Sakoto.
Bienvenue, man.
Okay. Wow, your phone. There's a problem.
Dr. Fontaine,
okay. Yokatanu. All right, bonsoir. Yes, Loblack.
Yeah, but Loblack, on that track matter, on the track matter, Loblack, 1 minute, Loblack. On that track matter, what we can continue doing is lobbying and putting on pressure. The Prime Minister had a press conference and he couldn't give a definite position as to when the track is going to become operational. So we on Sports Wrap, the Athletics Association, all we can do is continue lobbying and putting on pressure. That's what we can do.
Just now, Landa, I looking at the thing differently to you.
Well,
I think, let me tell you first of all, that the president of the Athletic Association, I know, can say much more than when he comes
When you say he can say more, in terms of what? What do you mean? When you say he can say much?
Whether they're going forward or backward, whether we will see 2025, the erection of the track.
He cannot say that, no Black. He cannot say that.
The track
all he
will
can do is putting pressure, speaking to the sports minister and continue applying pressure that is necessary for Dominica.
Listen to me, there won't be any track next year. Period.
Well, what do we have to wait? We were told that we will, for sure, we will have a track and it will be named Fear Laffer Track. Remember, this word was said there. So it was said on Sports Max in a live interview that by the head of the country that we will have a track by August next year. So let us wait and see. That's all.
In that same press conference, the Prime Minister could not be conclusive as to when the stadium is going to be late.
Listen, Mr. Sebastian.
This is very important. So let's go beyond that, Low Black. Let's not waste time.
I don't agree with you, brother.
Let's go beyond that. Let's go beyond that.
The same thing.
You don't need to agree with me, Low Black, on that. But we need to go beyond that.
I'm not sure. This same thing happened with the international airport.
Say that again,
how many years?
Huh? What's that? Anyway, on that note, let's take our first break, eh? Let's take our first break on that note. Okay.
I don't agree with you.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fenced pipe, and Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing, doors, windows, toilet sets, space basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Looking for a quiet, relaxing place to stay? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Leaving the office late and need somewhere close to town? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Business clients coming in and need accommodation? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Looking for group accommodation? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Located at 37 Goodwill Road in Portersville, upstairs ACS Supermarket. Enjoy our semi-self-contained rooms with private washroom, bathroom, Wi-Fi, air condition, cable network, mini refrigerator, all in a non-smoking environment. Call or WhatsApp at 1767-275-1899 or email us at info@portersplaceguesthouse.com to make your reservations. Porter's Place, your home away from home. Fit for a king, a queen, and all their royal subjects.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fenced pipe, and Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, space basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Before we go to our first contributor tonight, let me highly commend Rudolph Thomas and Sons and AC Shillingford for sponsoring this program. You are the reasons why we have this program operational. So I'm saying all to our fans and friends, if you got a choice to buy items, if you're in the north of the country, go to Rudolph Thomas. If you're in the south of the country, go to ACS. Let's continue supporting them so they can continue supporting the program. Thus, we can produce a high-quality program for you.
Yes, good night. So we have with us the PRO of the Football Association, Mr. Eddie Lawrence. Good night, sir.
Good night, Lobby. Good night, Randa. Good night, Fontaine. Good night.
Good night, my brother.
Yes.
Good night, comrade.
How are you, man?
Good night, good night.
I'm good.
Well, before we go to the football, I understood you all had a press conference. I think it was on Tuesday.
Yes, we had a press conference.
You care to enlighten listeners about what you already came up with at that press conference? That's a synopsis of what went on in that press conference.
Well, the press conference, good night to the listeners of K95 and others. The press conference was geared to really state the position of the senior national men's team. Their departure today, their games will be played on the 12th and 14th, so the logistics were given as to what the team was all about, and hence this is what transpired. The president gave a brief synopsis as to the state of football, as well as the general secretary. So basically, much could have been asked from the media, but again, they chose probably not to do what they were to do. That was the basic essence of the press conference.
Okay. Oh. Were you present, Abby, at that? When you were there, I'm sure you were the PRO.
I was the master of ceremony.
Right. Well, you know, Abby, as you said that there, you are the PRO of the Football Association.
Yes,
I understand you all have a new media man. I would have expected your name to come up as the PRO of the Football Association. I see you all have a new media man traveling with him.
Well, one of the things I would say, and I'm going to be public about it, let me commend Gavin Richards for doing a fantastic job over the years. There is no qualms between Gavin and the PRO and or any member of the executive. Just that it is incumbent of us as well to really look at other avenues that football can be broadcasted on a different level. Hence, Mr. Ignatius Kalai John Baptist was the one selected. Is everybody comfortable with it? Like I said to everybody, give someone a chance. You never know until you've proven his or her capabilities. Hence, Kalai was chosen. If you tell me how and where, I would say to you, much cannot be said about it for want of a better reason, but he was the one opted by the executive, by certain EXO members, and hence Kalai is the one representing the FA. Were to be the PRO, I remain the humble servant, and when in God's timing, I do not do things in my own timing, when God will see fitting that I will be the one to move, he will do just that.
But you know, Eddie, tell me, I mean, what has happened? Why is that all of a sudden now that Gavin Richards has been removed?
Well, being honest, I am one of the persons that asked prior to really being the PRO for now, what is the policy when it comes to media in the Football Association? And like I say, and I'm saying it to the public, that there is no issue with Gavin Richards. But in good judgment, I believe other persons can really use and show their talent in speaking of real football terms. And a decision was taken in our meeting to really look at the way we do things. And hence, when the idea of media officer came, everybody agreed to allowing other persons, especially those of the college that are keen in sport, to really go ahead, and other persons that are being utilized off and on in our football aspect. How Kalai was selected it's questionable for me. But nonetheless, he is the one selected, and I comply. I will support the effort.
Jump for the boys.
Now, for the boys, I will allow the better judgment of that be said. But how it was done.
But Ebby, sorry,
Ebby, hold on. Dr. Fontaine wants to ask you a question.
No, it's something you said that caught my attention. You said that you wanted somebody who had probably more knowledge of the sport. So in that case, I think Kala is a good choice, right? Given that he was a former referee and he knows the game very well.
At the end of it, Dr. Fontaine, we must be careful. Yes, it's true he may be knowledgeable about everything, but we must be careful how we do things, the motive towards how we do things, because at the end of the day, there can be rippling effects. I say, and people could listen to me now, I am one of the persons that say, if Dominicans, if we really want to see football develop, rather than criticizing what is there, I believe there comes a time that the very persons that criticize, they do not come to the game. They do not know anything that is happening in any of the leagues. Yet they are the ones to jump on board and say this is this and say that is that. But I will keep that for a different time, a different place, a different venue. But nonetheless, we wish the boys well. We wish Mr. John Baptist well.
Yeah, but Ebby, there's something I want to ask you, and then we'll move on to other aspects of it. It is my understanding, and Hall said, we want to protect the radio station. It's alleged that a letter was written to you all by the management of DBS questioning. Go ahead. Go ahead.
We haven't seen that letter. We haven't heard of such letter.
You never heard of that letter. It's managed a letter was written where the management obviously objecting to Gavin going on that sort of thing, and hence the reason why. That's why I say it's an allegation, but some people might say it's the truth. But I am saying to protect the radio station, it's an allegation. Just to protect the radio station. But some people will say that the truth, that a letter was written to you all where the manager has been objecting. Well, I'm sure you know the management of DBS has been objecting to Gavin for a long time traveling. Yeah? You know that, right?
Speaking football, not wanting to go in DBS politics.
Anyway, okay, let us move on from that. Anyway, go ahead. Lobby, you want to ask him? Go ahead. Let's move on.
Eddie.
Yes,
Doing with Kalai hasn't been involved in the referee association.
Yes, he was.
What has happened since then?
He is still a referee assessor.
And assessor.
Anyway, tell us about the football you said. There was football last weekend?
What?
Yeah.
Football is alive and well, man, Ruby.
Yeah.
I made the political shenanigans that is going on.
Yeah, then I'm telling you. Tell us about what happened last weekend, because it is close to maybe team fighting for relegation and promotion. Tell us about that.
Zubla remains on the points table with 31 points, followed closely by We United with 28, Middleham in third position with 23, Harlem with 20, Connect 7, Ready Cast, East Central 17, Mao 17, Bombers, Roosevelt Spirit Bombers of Portsmouth 15, Sajiko South is 15, but Michelle 12, Bath Estate 11. As we speak now, again, it's someone that is in the person of Sajiko South and PDVA Caribbean. As we are speaking, again, is playing. Is about to be played as we speak. So that is the point standing as we are. And now, one would ask why are some of these teams playing all these games, but because of the precedent with the national team, you have Dubla having more than 8 players on the team, so hence Dubla played less games than the others, and that of Bombers, Harlem Bombers, from ex-Bombers, that is. So going forward, we will see the continuation of our game. But Dubla is in the points standing with 31 thus far, and Buffett State and Port Michel 12 and 11 points. So The football is open still, so relegation
But
zone.
Eddie, this
open.
morning, I think I heard it was a player, the manager from Point Michel, was querying why they should be playing on the national team, and their captain is out with the national team. I heard him on radio was objecting to them playing when their captain, their leader, is out with the national team.
Well, but if everybody complains that their players are in the national team, then that will put football now on a great standstill, because everybody will say my star player he is on the national team, and hence I should not be able to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
So you see the logistics of it.
No, I'm just saying. I heard him complaining.
Hence, as I've stated before, there is a policy that as long as you have 3 or more players on the national team, then your team, your club will not play. So all the other clubs will play, but for Dubla, for Tom-Exalem, they have been excused for the time because their players, most of their players from the national team.
I mean, hold on a while. I'm not going to read. A former board member of DBS has just said that, and he says, news just coming in, Football Association fired Gavin Richards, and he was replaced in a controversial manner by Carly John Baptiste as the new football media man, and question arises if DBS Cecil had Gavin fired. They just came from a former board member of DBS.
There is no need to comment on such a blatant lie.
Well, I'm just reading what people... Well, Landa can verify it.
Tell the member ipso facto it's a lie. It's a lie from the pit of hell.
Well, I'm not reading it. It's a former member.
No.
Because just said that.
We need to stop these things. We really
but
need to
don't try to defend what you can't defend.
And look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture is what, as I've been saying, a product that is second to none in Dominica. Every little thing cannot be an issue, gentlemen, in the island. Football is alive. Yes, there may be 1, 2 with issues within the executive, like any organization. But at the end of the day, our hearts, our efforts, our interest is to see football develop, and nothing else matters than seeing football develop. One will not agree with all the policies Eddie Lawrence take as PRO. But as PRO, the mandate has been given to me to speak on the footballers issue, to speak on the executive issue. I will use greater judgment and do just that until the very club say, you know what, Lawrence, we are with you.
Okay, let's go. So Dominica is playing when, Abby?
Let's
move on. When is Dominica playing? Let the listeners know. When is the...
Dominica is playing on the 12th and the 14th.
So that is Saturday and Tuesday.
Bermuda.
Saturday and Monday?
Is it the 14th or the 15th?
I think it's the 15th, you know, Saturday and Tuesday.
15th.
They're playing on Saturday.
And they return on the 17th. Yeah, nice. Asleep.
Yeah, they're playing Saturday and Tuesday. Did they go on a charter flight?
What are they playing, Sebastian? What are they playing?
They're playing Bermuda. Bermuda in both games. Bermuda in both games. Huh?
What were you saying?
Did they go on a charter flight? Did the team come on a charter?
Well, from Antigua, they were chartered.
Okay.
So you see, there are things that is happening that many people won't know. But we keep being so bashful at times, because I invited.
It's not bashful, brother. I don't agree with you.
I invited Strap to the press conference. So if you wanted answers to such questions, sometimes
no, but you are the PRO. That's your role, to educate people and to give people information.
But I invited you all. But anyway, great news for the football fraternity. Come November, there will be a FIFA forward coach on island for 2 years, dealing with the youth aspects and trying to further develop the technical aspects of football. So that's great news. We've since going to launch our football for schools, a memorandum of understanding. As we speak, it's been sorted out and passed out with the Ministry of Education. So nonetheless, I know beyond the shadow of a doubt that good things will happen in football once we put our foot and put the differences aside.
Ebby, when you spoke to us the last time, you spoke about the local female league.
Yes,
where is it right now? The local female league, and are there any future regional engagements for the females?
Yes, local football league, women league is continuing. There will be international as well as regional engagements for these women. As we speak, the point standing for the women, Roosevelt Skerrit Bombers, on 13 points. Belfast Estate Maru Soka Strikers on 13 points. New India Goodwill Runners on 12 points. Harlem on 12 points. Kirk Hector Southeast on 9 points. Karinago Warriors on 4 points. Mighty Avengers 3. All Saints and South City 0. So that is the point standing for the women's team. With our under 15 league points standing, we have Harlem with 12 points, Port Michelle with 12 points, Parish with 12 points, Marigot on 9 points, East Central on 6 points, Goodwill Runners on 6 points, Southeast on 3 points, Calibishi on 3 points, South City and Wayne George Academy on 0 points. These are the points standing on the U15 league as we speak, women's league, and I gave you earlier on that of the Premier. There are some contentions with the first division. As soon as they are ironed out, we will proceed with the round 8 of the first division game.
When is the final of the President's Cup?
Well, hopefully, Sibo, as soon as the team returns, we will see the action.
Yeah, but I'm looking for a date and a venue.
I am not the one putting the date, but the venue most likely will be at the Stockton Training Center, Technical Center.
Because I remember you saying it's going to be played in Windsor Park. You remember you said that, right?
Well, initially, that was the plan of the DFA. We did not execute what we were to execute properly, hence the independence celebrations. We'll take up now the aspect of the Windsor Park. So we will forward our games to the Technical Center.
Okay.
Yeah. I ask about the future regional engagements for the women. Can you mention any future regional engagements or international engagements for the women?
That will be done next year. As soon as this is ironed out again, we shall put things in order and you will know. Hence, Mr. Land, like you recalled, tonight were to be the women's coordinator and not myself.
Okay, you made mention of that. And give us your candid opinion of what you think would be our performance against Bermuda. Do we have any new players? I've heard about Troy Jules. I'm not too sure what position he plays. We won one game in Antigua. We beat Antigua and we lose to Dominican Republic. What has been done since that tournament in Antigua? What's your candid opinion of how you think we'll perform in Bermuda?
The team is very optimistic. They is a very optimistic, very energetic team. And if they execute the game plan as trained, as sorted out, I believe we can upset Bermuda anytime, any place. I believe half of that, we can give them for both games 3 love each, 6 love at the end of it.
How many games have we played against Bermuda before? What's the head-to-head between Dominican and Bermuda?
We played only one game in Antigua with them. In my stand in Astiaro.
So only one game we have played against Bermuda?
I know we can beat them. And the time will come when we will be shouting and saying and singing a different song that, hey, we are getting it right.
Thompson, what's happening with football in the Southeast? I see the men's team not performing, the women's team not performing. What's happening in the Southeast?
Well, you should ask Emmy. That's where he's from. Thompson is not close there. Emmy's from there.
Well, I am happy you brought it up. One of the things that needs to be done now is to remove the political part of what is happening. There is a little political cliche, a political niche that is crippling the overall development.
You mean in terms of the players or the management of the team?
No, the management, that is.
When you say the management, are you referring to the coach?
Don't put more.
No. I'm not asking you to be specific.
Let me further clarify my point. When we forget that Southeast is not a red and blue, but Southeast belongs to the people, the fans.
Yes, so what politics is that there then? If you say
it's not the coach. Management needs to get their acts together as well.
When you say manager, you're talking about the manager of the team? Is that what you're referring? Hello? Have we lost him?
Yeah.
Have we lost Abby?
So I wonder what they'll be saying. Is he saying that politics?
Let's see if we get. Yeah, that's what I don't understand. I would like him to clarify that.
Now
let's see if we can get him
more labor rights and the team is losing. Is that what he's saying?
Well, he would like to. I would really like him to clarify what's the problem, because he's talking about politics and that's why I asked him the management or the coach. What is the problem? He must tell us. We try and get him back. Lobby, you're going to say something? Huh?
Yes, when I'm talking about performance, Sebastian, and with a team, I could recall what I went through with Graham Academites. It could be in terms of training. All right, training is key. If you want, look for example like Jubla. All right, Jubla is successful because I know that the guys are consistent at training, regardless of how much politics you may have in the management. But the coach need the presence of the players regularly. Even if you're not having that, you're going to have serious problem. You're going to have serious problem. I know what I went through with Graham Academites. So it might not be management. It might just be training.
But I would like maybe to clarify that. I mean,
because I'm going to say he's not, because first of all, Sebastian, you may look at some of your key players. Your type of work. Do they have work? Are they employed? Unemployed? Are they employed? Unemployed? A lot of factors you have to look into. All right. So that ready players.
We're trying to get him back on the line for him to explain. We're trying to get him back to see.
Ready players, because Sebastian, there's something he said. I want to get back, and if you can look at that when he spoke about, it has to do with Gavin. With Gavin, it is rather unfortunate in 2024. I'm hearing that. All right. Remember what you went through when you were playing cricket.
Hold on, Lobby. We have Abby back. Abby, are you back with us?
Yes, I am back.
We lost you. We lost you.
And I do not want to cause an umbrage to anybody on any panel, because it's my duty, as I've said to the footballers, to be there for them and speak on their behalf. But I've reached to the point after a year as PRO. I've seen such machinations within the football body, and it's not auguring well for any one of us. We may agree to disagree on a number of things, but many of the clubs suffer direction and leadership, and that is costing not just.
But you must be specific. When you say leadership, what do you really mean? When you said leadership,
say for example, and I want to commend Harlem. I want to commend this club, and others are doing their part. But I commend Harlem for looking out for their youth athletes. They are not just there for the boys to play football. They find ways, that these boys can be sent to overseas. And we need to be looking at these things rather than sitting and say, I'm not playing football for Ron, I'm not playing football for Greta, I'm not playing football for Terry. No, it's football bigger than that.
Oh, I get you. So even that is the sort of thing.
Bigger than that.
But let me say, Mr. Ron Green has been in the lead.
This man has played a leading role.
A shining light for that team. And without somebody like him, probably that thing would have disintegrated a long time.
Exactly.
It would have disintegrated.
Exactly.
So I'm trying to wonder, what is the problem up there? What is really the problem up there?
Well, there are those within that can say the problems, but on my part, I speak for the DFC and not for Southeast.
Oh, Dr. Fontaine, you wanted to ask him something.
Yes, certainly. Talking about the Southeast, I just wanted to know if, because is it what we're seeing? I know you talk about the politics, but is it deeper than that? Are we seeing a decline in the overall quality of the players in the Southeast?
One, Dr. Fontaine, I've been the PRO for Southeast for a number of years, and there are things I will always tell people that I will hold dear to me, because when it for Southeast, I would not have been afforded the grace that would be of being DFA's PRO for now, because it had to take my own club to send me. But when we see certain things that we could avoid, we would have done better Take, for example, players' morals. The morals of the players. We as management need to find ways to motivate our players rather than demotivating them. The lights are on the field. This is a greater thing. This is a community effort. And I dig up the parrot for really good lips and bounds to ensure that, hey, the boys could practice, because she got blows, oh, nothing is happening. The lights come, 5 players of South is going to train. Who to be blamed? You blame Greta? You blame you, Dr. Fontaine? How do we, as a community, address these things? Now I'm speaking from a grandfather's perspective.
So how you think that problem can be solved then, Ebi, now? How you think that problem can be solved?
How can we work on it?
How can you solve that? How can you all up there? You are part of the club. You were nominated by them. How you are going to solve the problem?
I know many of the fans are listening in Grafton. My take on this is, let's put all these differences aside, call the club together, sit with them, listen, and after we listen, for the next season, let's tread a new trajectory for them. Let's plan it with them.
Well, somebody must take the lead. Are you prepared to take the lead to do that?
There are talents on the surface that needs to be seen in the outer world.
But you see,
and Dr. Fontaine knows it.
But you see, Eddie, you're talking about you're talking about next year. I think it has to start right now before the end of the league. So you can end the league on a good note.
Before the end of, listen, yes, I'm happy, because there are things that, like I said, to persons who you keep silent about. There is a group of persons that are genuinely concerned about the growth and development of Southeast. And there are some persons, as I speak, they can call and challenge me, and I would speak straight to power. So crush down to earth, we rise again like some of us rightly know. There are some persons, because these persons are affiliated with Greta, they do not want them to be part of Southeast. And that's a fact. That is a fact.
This to me. This
it's not your to believe. And why
should
be real and honest about ourselves?
Ebi, hold on, Dr. Fontaine making a point to you.
Ebi, what I was
I have no problem with that. I will have to come to the radio next week Thursday.
Yes. Well, please come in.
Yes.
We'd like you in the studio.
No, I'm very concerned about that.
Hold on. Dr. Fontaine said something.
I'm making that now.
Okay, hold on, Ebi, before you go, Dr. Fontaine will be before you.
I'm very concerned about it. This is something that we need to address, because Ebi is talking about the affiliation of some players to the PAL rep as interfering, and I'm saying why does it come to that? Why that affiliation? That is something that we really need to explore in more detail with Ebi, because that is you should not allow. I mean, politics have so polluted and so in so many aspects, and now we're coming in, sipping into our football, into our talent, and I'm very much concerned about this, and that is something that we need to explore further.
Right. Okay. So Ebi, thank you very much. Next week, as you say, we want you to come in the studio so we can further develop that thing, and you all need to solve that. You, as a main man up there, as you said, you were nominated by them. You all have to get the act together, because you can't let politics divide a group of people. In sports in particular, we don't want that at all. Honestly, yeah. So hold on, Lobby. So thank you, Ebi. Thank you very much. We will hear you next week. Thank you.
Yes, brother.
Thank you. Yeah, Lobby, what you're saying? You're going.
I'm just laughing, Sebastian. I can't believe that. The issue with Gavin is it the question?
Hold on, we have a caller there. Hold on. Good evening.
Yes, something I wanted to say. See, but we never had this kind of problem before in sports, because we didn't have people like the ministers pushing themselves to sponsor a team and having a team as their own. We never had that before. So maybe that is the problem we're facing right now, because we have people that never played sport before, that never knew shit about sports, pushing themselves in the sport just to have some young people on their side, and that is where the problem is. Good night, bye-bye.
Good night, yeah. Lobby, quickly, because we have our guests.
Let's move on.
Yeah, let me say something very interestingly. Today, I passed by the playing field in Goodwill, and the amount of young fellas I saw on that playing field, I was very encouraged. A lot of young guys, and they've got their coaches and everything. I was very much encouraged. But when I went down to Pottersville, I saw grass up to my waist. The Pottersville playing field, grass up to my waist. I want to know what's happening in Pottersville. I'm not in Pottersville. But goodwill was very encouraging. And the persons involved in organizing sports in goodwill, please continue putting that extra effort. Very good.
Okay.
But
okay, what we're going to do now? Hold on, Lobby. We're going to take a break now, and when we come back, our guests are on. So we're going to switch to cricket because we have our guests on the line. So we're going to take a short break now, an ad break now.
Looking for a quiet, relaxing place to stay? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Leaving the office late and need somewhere close to town? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Have business clients coming in and need accommodation? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Looking for group accommodation? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Located at 37 Goodwill Road in Portersville, upstairs ACS Supermarket. Enjoy our semi-self-contained rooms with private washroom, bathroom, Wi-Fi, air condition, cable network, mini refrigerator, all in a non-smoking environment. Call or WhatsApp at 1767-275-1899 or email us at info@pottersplaceguesthouse.com to make your reservations. Porter's Place, your home away from home. Fit for a king, a queen, and all their royal subjects.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fenced pipe, and Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Looking for a quiet, relaxing place to stay? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Leaving the office late and need somewhere close to town? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Have business clients coming in and need accommodation? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Looking for group accommodation? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Located at 37 Goodwill Road in Portersville, upstairs ACS Supermarket. Enjoy our semi-self-contained rooms with private washroom, bathroom, Wi-Fi, air condition, cable network, mini refrigerator, all in a non-smoking environment. Call or WhatsApp at 1767-275-1899 or email us at info@pottersplaceguesthouse.com to make your reservations. Porter's Place, your home away from home. Fit for a king, a queen, and all their royal subjects.
Okay, we are back and we're going to be discussing cricket now. We had the recently concluded CPL. We have our team in Sri Lanka. The ladies are in Dubai. There's Test cricket. We saw a man today, 317 runs, almost a run a ball in a Test match. That's unheard of. So we have two eminent gentlemen from Barbados who will be joining us. Philo Wallace is right now in England. Late, I know it's very late. It's midnight in England right now. And we are grateful to him that he could join us at that time. Andrew Mason will be joining us as well. Let me say good night to you, Philo. Philo, good night. Are you hearing us? Oh, your mic is muted.
Yes, good
Philo?
night. All right. Good night to you and your panel. How are you doing?
Good night. We have with us Ronald Lander. Dr. Fountain is there, as well as Emmanuel Loblack. Andrew has not yet signed in yet. Andrew is supposed to be joining us as well. Philo, I know it's late. I know we have kept you up late. So thank you very much for joining us on this program. But it's always nice to have a former West Indies player, a lawyer now. People must know that, Philo. You are now an attorney, a lawyer, and a man who speaks his mind, whatever it is. And let's get straight to it, Philo. We just had the CPL. What are your thoughts on the CPL, really?
Well, I don't practice law a lot hard because in England here I'm looking after estate. So
I know that, yes.
Law, right? Thanks for the accolades. It's cricket, so cricket makes West Indians do a lot of weird things. So staying up late to discuss cricket, particularly West Indies cricket, is no big deal. It is an honor to be on a program with your esteemed panel, and obviously you're soon joined by Andrew. But the Caribbean Scene Premier League 2024 is over. Congratulations to the St. Lucia Kings for winning. They were waiting a long time to obviously lift that trophy, and we saw the jubilation when it happened on Sunday in Guyana. When you look at the whole concept of the CPL, though, Lockhart, I really want to ask, what is the purpose of CPL? Because we've unearthed no new talent. We keep putting young men in different franchises to give them experience, but I want to know if it's experience taking towels. Because they don't actually get to play. And those who play don't play a lot of games. Because at the end of the day, the franchises, they want to win, to have bragging rights, to look good, to reinvest in the next year. So I would like the concept of CPL to be explained to me properly, because we've gone to Sri Lanka, where the squads have arrived this morning. Some young men have been included. Congratulations to them. But where's the new talent? Where's the guys who are going to replace these big hitters that have not gone to Sri Lanka? The Purans and the Hetmars and the Russells, who have opted out of the tour for personal reasons. Where's that new talent that we're looking for? So CPL to me is a success where it has banded the territories together, but particularly Guyana and Trinidad. I don't know if because of the Indian descent and their love for the T20 format, but they had fantastic crowds in those two territories. Barbados, when I was at home for some of the games, in Barbados, the crowds only turned up when Royals played Trinidad and when Royals played the Amazon Warriors. And these are things that are concerning, because if we're going to try to bring harmony into our cricket through the CPL and bring crowds back, when the lesser teams are going to play some of the bigger teams, you still need to try to generate the crowd support to get into that stadium to create the atmosphere. But I'm not seeing it in certain games, but we're just hoping that they can learn and move on. There's another tournament coming as well shortly by the Ghana government. The tournament has been endorsed by CWI. So let's see what happens out of that. And then there's some talk about another T20 competition in May for young people, for young cricketers. I don't know if we're looking to throw more young people into white ball cricket that is destroying their cricket, rather than trying to get them to play more red ball cricket. So there's a lot of stuff that is happening in West Indies cricket, but yet there's no clear pathway to our development of our players.
You know, Philo, you mentioned about the players, and that's a problem I have with the teams where, take for instance, you look at Raymond Riffa playing for Guyana. To me, if I said to somebody when I saw him playing, that's like match fixing. What is Raymond Riffa in one of the games, opened the batting. He took 13 balls before he got off the mark. That's a T20 game. So you take almost 2 overs before you score a run. They bring him in the final, and he batted 15 balls. Romario Shepherd, one of the best hitters in the Caribbean, batted 9 balls in that final. And they had Shepherd batting at number 9. So you wonder about the captaincy in some of the, even in that same game. What's his name? The guy from South Africa, Pretorius, in his second over, he could have gotten 3 wickets, 2 were overturned. He was bowling well. The captain switches him off, releases the pressure. When he comes back to bowl, they score 20-something runs of it. And I have questioned the kind of captaincy during the entire CPL.
If you look at the leadership, the captains of the CPL, all of them are over 30. And most of them don't live in the Caribbean. And in that same final, Shamar Joseph, who's supposed to be our spearhead and our fastest bowler, and this CPL should be a learning curve for him on how to bowl in T20 cricket. He didn't play in the finals, and he can hit a six. But yeah, you're playing Raymond Reefer who don't bowl. So I don't understand. I don't know how much input. I don't know how much input the locals in those franchises have. I obviously, because the franchises are controlled by the external elements outside the Cricket West Indies. So I don't know the controlling mechanism. I don't know who selected the playing 11s. Even if you look at the Royals team, you had Alec Antonaz and you had Kadeem Allen, and then you had the other young fellow from Barbados become 3, 4, 5. And then you got Rothman Powell and David Miller, who are the experienced guys at 5 and 6. So there's nobody to bridge the gap. So I don't know about development. Because if you're looking at development of cricketers and you have young batters, you need to stick in a senior player in between two young batters so that young batter or those young batters get an opportunity to bat with the seniors. But we don't see this kind of things in our CPL. We don't see bowling combinations that we believe that can work. Obey McCoy just played the T20 World Cup, and he ended up bowling 6 in a franchise game for Barbados Royals. What is he thinking? What is the rationale behind the thinking? And then we see our own T20 international captain, Rothman Powell, struggle for the whole CPL.
Well, he hasn't scored a run forward. By the way, Philohola, we've now been joined by Andrew Mason, who was in charge of coverage, radio coverage for the entire CPL. Good night, Andrew. Good night. Andrew, your mic is muted. Andrew?
Hi, how are you? Are you hearing me?
Yeah, we're hearing you clearly now. We're hearing you clearly.
Right.
How are you?
I'm okay, and you?
You're good. Well, your good friend Philo is up. He's up in England. He's joined us. He was up before you, Andrew. But were you sleeping?
Well, I'm getting older now,
Well, as you come, Dr. Fountain is here with me, Ronald Lander, Low Black. So we have a high-powered team to speak to both of you guys. We were just talking about the CPL, Andrew. I'm sure you would have some thoughts on the CPL.
Yeah, well, first of all, let me congratulate, of course, the Kings, the St. Lucia Kings. I thought that they played well to have won the championship, and there were some early warning signs when they did well in the prelims, and they actually defeated the Amazon Warriors to get. So in fact, they were the first team to qualify for the finals, and Johnson Charles did particularly well. The Plessy captain the side well. Nora was of great interest to them, and it's really good to see someone, an attacking bowler. I mean, I'm so happy to see him in the side, and as you know, Aaron Jones and these guys did pretty well. So that would have been the highlight in terms of the CPL. But the Barbados Royals, I mean, my side didn't do well at all, and they've got to really go back to the drawing board. I was very disappointed as far as that side was concerned. No real quality players apart from De Kock and, of course, David Miller, who batted too late. Jason Holler was below par. Tashana bowled particularly well. But, when you have Athanaze and there along with people like Aline, we note with interest that Wickham, who really should be in Sri Lanka now, with an average of 40, didn't get an opportunity. He actually got one game. TKR were pretty good. Unfortunate what happened with the lights. And the other teams didn't really show up at all. When you look at the situation with the team in Antigua, they weren't very good at all. And of course, certainly when you look at St. Kitts, the Patriots were not good at all. So overall, the question that we have to ask, were there any young cricketers coming out of the CPL that we could say that we could, raise? I got to start to scratch my head. There were one or two, but generally you were hoping that more would have come out of the CPL in terms of young cricketers. And that is a concern for me because you have to look to the future. And when you look at the fact that you have no Fletcher coming back into the situation as far as the West Indies team is concerned, who are the young cricketers that would have come into the CPL? I asked you that, Lockhart Sebastian.
Well, Andrew, from the inception, I was never a fan of the CPL because I felt, and both you and Phil knew, at the time the Caribbean T20 was taken off. There were big crowds everywhere we played. I mean, all 6 territories were represented. CPL has come, and it's like it's a friend thing where guys bring. You look at the Trinidad team sometime. You have Bravo, he's 40-something. Pollard, 30th. Russell, Narine. All these guys, it's like a friend thing. And in fact, Andrew, they're 16. Maybe you only West Indies selectors. Well, we don't even know who, if we have selected now. The people picking West Indies team, you probably only have about 20 people you can select from because most of them are overseas players. We hardly have young players come through. As you just mentioned, Fletcher has been brought back on the West Indies team. And really, we don't know the direction. And I just think that, well, again, can they do anything, Andrew? Because what we understand, there's a 99-year list, Philo. You're an attorney. You can tell us about that.
Yeah, but CPL has a big contract, a contract for a long duration that was signed a few years ago, and there's certain clauses within that contract that does not allow CWI to have any other T20 leagues. So at the meeting at the CARICOM heads of meeting there in Trinidad a couple of months ago, when a paper was presented to Prime Minister Rowley this week. Obviously, it was written by Derek Murray and Sir Clive Lloyd. So hopefully, within that paper, there'll be something about CPL, that whole contract, and allowing Cricket West Indies to have a T20 tournament that can allow us to see the cricketers of the region, because we have 6 franchises, 15 players contracted, which is 90 players who only plays red ball cricket and maybe white ball cricket, which is a 50 over. But the real crux of the matter is that the T20 cricket is not exposing enough regional players. So the West Indies, the guys, as Lockhart said, the guys who pick West Indies cricket squads now, we'll have a look at them. They're supposed to be scouts coming on board. We don't know who they are. The 50 over company is soon going to start. So I believe that those people who are going to be scouts have already been given their contracts. And they've signed them, and they'll be in Trinidad watching the cricket. So you have to give these guys enough room to see the local talent at the T20 level, because T20 cricket and 50 over cricket is 2 different formats that requires 2 different skill sets and mindsets. So you can't judge a man from 50 over cricket and tell me you can pick him for T20 World Cup. That doesn't work. And on that note as well, the director of cricket just said that you don't have to play any cricket in the region, but you can still get me selected for West Indies. You don't have to play white ball. You don't have to play red ball cricket to play Test match cricket.
Yeah.
So you know, whole connotations up in the air in relation to what we are looking for, and that is the baffling thing. What are we really looking for to develop our cricketers in the right way?
Before Lobby coming, Phil, I just want to mention you speak about scouts. My understanding is that nobody is going to be traveling. What they're going to do, for instance, if there is a match in Trinidad, they would use the main selector in Trinidad to look at some people for them. If there's a match in St. Lucia, and that's what they're going to do. They said nobody, from what I know and from right up in the office, nobody's going to be traveling. So we just do not know who is going to be picking the West Indies team. It's confusing, it's mind-boggling. Nobody knows. And they haven't even explained it. Andrew Mason came up with something there. It has never been explained. Andrew, am I wrong?
Yeah, you're right. In fact, I understand that Delroy Morgan, who, as you know, was recently picked as the chairman of selectors in Jamaica, is a scout for Jamaica. You heard that, didn't you?
Well, that's what I'm saying. All the chairman of selectors in the respective island, they will, but they only look at games in their country. They will not be traveling.
Yeah.
Nobody will be traveling. That's what they have said.
Is that Cricket West Indies have $40 million in surplus.
Mm-hmm.
So how could you have people not traveling to look at cricket?
Phil, are you sure about that, though? Are you sure about that figure?
But that is what was told to us.
But Philo, you played cricket with selectors. Before you, I played before you. Before me, there was Richard, there was everybody. They were always selected. In fact, India has 5 selectors. Australia has 4. Everywhere. West Indies now have no selectors. So you say you have a head coach going to pick the team. In fact, they're going to be employing a data person. Somebody who will give it data to coach. It is just confusing. It's just confusing.
Lockhart, when we played cricket, a selector was the person we wanted to see.
Exactly.
To impress that selector by performing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the selector adds value to a cricket match because the cricketers don't have to pull up their socks.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
you're right.
I can't see data and stats picking anyone because cricket is played under pressure. And when you look at it, I was just looking at some Sheffield Shield cricket. A young opening batter scored 200s, one in each innings. And his stats, his highest score before those 2 centuries was 57. So if you tell me you can pick him for Australia, you're gonna be crazy because his stats don't match up. You have to tell me you watched that game and you saw him apply himself as an opening batter. He went through certain gears and certain mechanisms in order and certain challenges in order to get those 200s. So stats cannot reveal that. So I know that the director of cricket is very big on stats, but I'm sorry, Lockhart, stats cannot tell me when a man faced 25 overs and he had 28 outswingers and 17 in-swingers and he conquered them. Stats don't prove that. Stats don't tell me, say the pass, a batter tightens up and start to leave balls and work balls into gaps and rotate strikes. Stats cannot tell me that. That is visual.
Well, you're very correct. Because if you had to depend on stats, Malcolm Marshall would never have been known. Malcolm Marshall.
Agree.
That's true.
But we just pick a young man at 17. What we pick him on? Potential?
Oh yeah, Jewel Andrew. Yes, exactly. Jewel Andrew. Yeah. But Loblak, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I wanted to say something back on the T20 that just concluded. First of all, I'm looking at young Walsh. The injustice that was done to young Walsh, the only genuine leg spinner we have. Looking at all of the teams, and this guy never got a chance to play. Now, isn't he on the West Indies team right now?
Yes.
Young Walsh.
Yes, Hader Walsh Jr., yes.
I think he's in the 50 over team, I think.
He's in the 50 over squad.
Yeah.
But when last he played 50 over cricket?
Good question. Well, you know, Philo, as you talk about the 50 over, you wonder too about what's happening in the office. I was looking at the fixture. The first test match against Bangladesh starts on November the 22nd. The Super 50 final is on the 23rd. So you're going to have on the same day a test match is going on and the Super 50 is going on in Trinidad. What if that never happened in West Indies cricket before? So you wonder what is really going on in Antigua. If the people are really know what's going on.
But you got to ask the question, what is their main focus? Which format is their main focus? Because we should not be having overlapping matches, particularly at the regional level. Our regional season already is too short, and you're going to overlap it. So you're asking people you can either watch Super 50 or Test match cricket, which is not right. So there should be a window when you're planning tours and fixtures. You have to have a window where your domestic competition benefits.
True.
Andrew, there's something for you.
Just before you ask me, and Philo is right as far as that is concerned, because you're basically competing against yourself. I mean, so what do you say to the people who sponsor the Super 50 CG insurance? Because the emphasis is going to be on England.
Exactly. No, it will be Bangladesh.
My understanding is that the sponsors are not happy, and they can't be, because you're really competing against yourself. How could you have a competition where you have the Super 50 and you have England being involved as well? People are going to gravitate more towards England. So the kind of mileage that Super 50 is going to get is going to be very minimal, and the sponsors that will put a lot of money into the Super 50 will not be happy about that. And I am told that those responsible in terms of sponsorship, CG United, they're not happy at all about the fact that they're overlapping. So Cricket West Indies is really competing against itself.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Let us give the numbers. Give the numbers for the callers, please. Let's give the numbers, please.
449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, 616-4257. Those are local numbers. The overseas number is 305-432-9624.
Right. Andrew, you in particular, I want you to respond to that. 2019, I mean, we know you were, during the Dave Cameron, the exit of before he left the scene, where Shallow and Skerritt were campaigning. I know they use your program every Tuesday to campaign before the election in 2019. And you had Gonzalez on your program, you had Keith Mitchell, you had the one from Trinidad. You know, but it's interesting. I'm sure you would have heard Gonzalez. He came up with something where he said that under Keisha Shallow, West Indies cricket has sunk lower and lower. How do you respond to that, Andrew Mason?
Well, you know, that's an interesting one because I didn't know that Dr. Shallow was involved in politics at that level. In fact, I thought that Dr. Shallow was a Gonzalez man. And as you know, Gonzalez batted for Mr. Shallow and Mr. Skerritt to get rid of your good friend up in Jamaica, Dave Cameron.
By the way, Andrew, he'll be on my program next week. He'll be on our program next week. He'll be live with us next week. Dave Cameron, former president.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, he's going to be on the program next week, Thursday.
So when are you going to get Shallow?
Well, he's been on this program already. Shallow have been here already. But Dave Cameron will be on next week. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, no, but so it's a very interesting situation now because I actually thought that Shallow was a big Gonzalez man, and clearly, he's not. And now you have a situation where Gonzalez is attacking him and making the comment that he is very, very, but he said it was one of the biggest mistakes he's ever made to actually support Kishore Shallow.
In fact, he apologized to your prime minister.
Yeah, he did. He did, in fact. So, you know, there's a lot of tension there as well. Let's assume an election is called tomorrow. Election date is called tomorrow in St. Vincent. Their elections are due, I think, in 2026. But
yeah, by December next year.
Yeah, by December next year.
Yeah.
What happens in that situation? Would the president of Cricket West Indies have to resign?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. Probably, well, Philo is the legal man here. I've asked the question already. Can he be the president of CIB and be a politician or be a minister? How does that work? I don't know.
I don't think that he can sit in both seats.
True.
I think even at this juncture, with his interest in politics and having to, I believe you have to spend more time in St. Vincent now because he'll be campaigning for a seat. He has to be in that constituency working maybe 3-4 days a week to get support. Obviously, the president, the sitting prime minister, Dr. Ralph Gonzalez, has put another spoke in his wheel in relation to his demeanor and what he's doing. So he will have to try to be in that constituency and in St. Vincent to try to get support. I believe if it was me and I going up to run for a political seat, a constituency, let's say in Barbados, and I'm president of CWI, I'm going to step down.
I would think so myself, yeah.
And concentrate on being an MP because you have to look at Dr. Shallow has to consider what ramifications is it going to bring to West Indies cricket with him trying to juggle being an MP and canvassing and being the president of Cricket West Indies without cricket at its lowest ebb. And obviously, you as president, you need to lift the image of West Indies cricket and try to lift the whole standard of our cricket because you might have coaches and auxiliary staff, but the president is still the head of the organization, and we're lying ninth in cricket, and the blame is going to fall a lot on the president and whoever else that makes the cricketing decisions. So I think that he should be looking seriously and talking seriously to the board about how best can he balance? Because I don't think he can balance these two positions. And they're still having board meetings and he's still cheering them. But I want to know how he's getting it done. Because to be honest, to run for a parliamentary representative in this modern era, it calls for a lot of dedication, and you have to dedicate a lot of your time to constituents because constituents now are very, very fragile.
Well, no, but that's an interesting one that you're saying, Philo. And let me just extend it further. In relation to the whole question of someone like a Dwayne Gill, because it is my understanding that Dwayne Gill he's on the job already, Philo. I got this information a couple of days ago that he's now the high performance manager taking over from your good friend Graham West. Now, the question I want to ask, and I'm going to ask Lockhart, who's very close to the action, is he still a director of Cricket West Indies?
Well, he's still the president of Windward's Cricket. But what I don't understand, how can a director be an employee of the board? That cannot happen. No. And not only that, you mentioned Graham West. Graham West was a qualified coach, highly qualified coach, so he was in charge of the high performance. How can a man who has no cricketing skills just because it's like job for the boys. I mean, as you know, Dwayne Gill was one of those. It's alleged didn't vote for Cameron and voted for Charlotte. It's alleged. Again, I have to protect the radio station. Allegedly, although Andrew, you know otherwise, but. It's a problem.
But I want to even go further because CWI have something called a board of directors.
Right.
And the board of directors are supposed to be made up of reasonable people.
Mm-hmm.
Dwayne Gill sits on that board of directors, I believe. How can you recommend a man who sits on the board of directors to come and work in a high performance center, and you have to pay him a salary, and then he comes back and he sits on the board and go to board meetings? But he's a friend. How can you? What hard questions can you ask him about high performance?
Yeah.
Tell me, you had Dr. Bennett. All respect to him, who is the president of Jamaica Cricket Association, who was a director of Cricket West Indies, who was a doctor in the T20 World Cup. So I don't get to understand. Does the West Indies, does Cricket West Indies articles of association allow for these appointments?
Well, you know,
can work directly for the board and be paid and still sit as directors. Is that within the articles of association?
Well, this thing have only happened in the last 5 years because, you know, the same Dwayne Gill, as you know, is a teacher in Grenada. He acted CEO of the franchise, acted there for over 4 years when the franchise, Windward franchise, moved from Dominica to Grenada. And he even got an increase in salary as CEO of the Windward franchise. So to me, that is corruption. That's how I look at it, because he has a full-time job at T.A. Marisol College in Grenada. So how does he, as a director of the Windward board, and now getting a salary somewhere? You just don't understand it.
And he also manager on the 19th squad for quite a while too, huh?
And the A team as well. And you have manager of the A team as well.
I know it's alleged he's going to be high performance manager.
Yes,
he is, because he's on the job. He's on the job. and in fact, I confirmed that only today.
Okay.
That is very. But you know what's interesting about this? That there's been no press release.
Well, exactly. A lot of things that kept quiet, because, you know, I asked the question, why was Fletcher selected and Johnson Charles not selected? The response I got was Johnson is injured. So I said, but why didn't you all put it in the press release if Johnson is injured? But, you know, Andrew, I have to ask you and Philo. We had the CPL. Russell was available. Puran was available. Meyer was available. Hussein. They played their cricket. All of a sudden now, they want to rest. They're not. They tell the Cricket West Indies, we cannot go to Sri Lanka. We want rest. That sort of thing has happened for the past 5 years. It never happened before, but it continues to go on. And it's okay, Andrew Mason and Philo Wallace?
But the thing is, Lockhart, it is okay because you don't have a selection panel to make recommendations to a board. The selection panel is being headed by the head coach. And if you read the head coach's comments on these players, the head coach is actually sweet on these players. Russell said during the World Cup, or even before this T20 World Cup this year, that this will be his last. Now he's saying he wants to continue for another 2 years because obviously he has had discussions with the people or the person that matters. So when players have so much autonomy, they can do as they like.
True.
And the person who's supposed to report to the board of directors and the DOC about these behaviors, he's not going to report it. He's going to say it's okay, let them do it because they'll come back and play. It's going to be interesting to see who is available for the series against England.
True. That's very true.
My take on it, panel, is that these guys go to the IPL. They travel thousands of miles. They played a lot of IPL games, over 20 games. You know, you never hear they're tired.
True.
They're never tired when they play IPL.
True.
But when they come home, they need rest. And we afford them rest. It is amazing. But we want people to come and watch West Indies cricket and people to put their hard-earned money to sponsor West Indies cricket. But these so-called big players, we are resting them. Well, I would like the sponsors to rest their money, but not for West Indies cricket. You have to draw the line. And the West Indies cricket needs to wake up to the reality of the modern game. If you want people to support your cricket, your best players must be available and playing.
The other thing too, what's happening to Jason Holder? Is he finished? What's happening?
No. I asked the question again, Andrew. I was told that Jason Holder is injured. That's the answer, the response I got. So that's why he has been selected. I was told, I asked about Kyle Mayers. I was told he's injured. But today I saw you send out something where he's captain of Barbados. So I sent what you said.
That's a fact. In fact, the Barbados team is supposed to be announced tomorrow. And I can confirm that he has been made captain. Kyle Hope, Shea Hope was very much there as well. But he's got so many commitments. As you know, in relation to the trials, we had the captain of the West Indies team. He was there as well. Warwick and captain aside, but the recommendation was made, and Kyle Hope, who was
Shea Hope. Oh, Kyle Hope, or the brother? You mean the brother of Shea?
No. I want to get to that. And I keep talking about Kyle Hope. And this is one for Philo. Do you know that when Shea Hope last captain Barbados and Kyle Hope played, didn't you find it strange, Philo?
Yes.
I'm told that there was a talk coming from Shea that he wanted his brother to be very much a part of the action. And the selectors found themselves in a situation where they actually had to pick Kyle Hope. Now, when these things are happening in West Indies cricket, it really is not good at all.
I knew about that situation, and the chairman is still the same chairman.
And the chairman is still the same chairman. And it's a scout too for the West Indies.
For the West Indies cricket.
Yes, that is true.
Where's our cricket goes?
He's hitting the brooms, right?
That bugs me.
Yeah.
Because I was told that he said, when you all start to make sense, he's going to come back into the meeting call. Apparently, he walked out of the meeting.
Yeah, he did.
And these things are wrong, because if I am sitting as a selector and you're captain, and I selected a national team, and you're telling me that I'm going to say this meeting is adjourned, I'm going to go to the CEO of the BCA, and I want to have a meeting with the board. I explain my situation here. I get some ratification from the board and a resolution to take Barbados cricket forward. This cricket doesn't belong to the players. This cricket belongs to the spectators. You play this game to entertain us and keep us happy. You're selected for your nation. You have a whole nation on your back. You can't come into a room and tell me you're not doing this and you're not doing that because this fella ain't playing. I am sorry. This is Barbados cricket. That is why I said I don't understand why players are saying they're not available for West Indies. And we've given them contracts. And we've given people contracts who hardly plays cricket in the region.
This point interesting.
Those players don't play cricket in the region. Look at it, but they are contracted.
No, that's a very interesting one, and I raise it. It would appear as if they're finished now with our good friend Mr. Roach. Is he finished? Because I know that he didn't get a contract. Is he going to play against Bangladesh? What's happening to Kemar Roach?
What I understand, Andrew, is that they're trying to speak to him of being a mentor. That's what I've understood.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I've understood. But you know, Andrew and Philo, you just talk about contracts. Stephanie Taylor today, I saw on the field. She has been given a multi-year contract.
Yes.
Now, she hasn't played cricket for a while. You look at her on the field. She can't even stand the field. And she's been awarded a multi-year contract. You look at her today, Stephanie Taylor.
Well, that bamboozled me. From the first game, she was injured. And I'm surprised that ICC has allowed her to continue this competition, because she's just struggling. And Cricket West Indies should be ashamed of themselves to put out such a talented player injured. I saw her dive today at a ball, and she rolled over and hold her left ankle. I said, "Oh Lord, another injury." Then the ball keep following her, and the commentators are saying, "Oh, Stephanie is going through some injury problems. She's struggling." But then you open batting with her. She got 20-something retire her, and people saying that she's worth the salt. She is injured. She cannot bowl. She's hazard in the field. And she's opening the batting with the captain, who likes to get on with the game and rotate the strike. And when you're pushing the outfield for two, you can only get one.
I
don't understand
didn't make sense at all.
But you know what was surprising?
It could only be the head coach who recommended her for the contract, and it ratified again by Cricket West Indies Board of Directors.
But what was surprising is that I was surprised that the Bangladeshi didn't object to that. The law is, if it's an external injury, can bat. But we know she was injured before the game, so she should not have been allowed to bat before number 7. I was surprised.
I don't understand the rules of that competition runs, but to me it is embarrassing for CWI to have Stephanie Taylor in Dubai injured in a World Cup. And we have to play England next. You think that England is going to ease up on us?
You have to ask the question, fellow, was a fitness test done before?
But do they do fitness tests? Do they do fitness tests? That might have gone a lot. There's a lot of changes, so that must be one that has gone through the windows too. Because
they have to beat England on Tuesday to qualify. They have to beat England to get to the semifinals.
Yeah. And the other thing too, Lockhart, that I find interesting when you look at the actual selection of the white ball squad.
Bangladesh.
Lockhart?
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
The selection of Evan Lewis in both sides, don't you find that strange?
Well, you know, while I was a selector, we had problem with this guy where most times he wouldn't want to play. You virtually had to be begging him. And I was very surprised when I saw his name. In fact, even both teams, both
sides,
and that is where you should really have selectors where you have different opinions, because you cannot have what is happening now. What is happening now will encourage things like that, where guys will decide when they want to play, because you have, as you say, you have in each island a scout, the chairman of selectors. They have an analyst sitting somewhere in the office. All the things. He shows it to the head coach, and then you pick a team. You cannot pick cricket teams like that. It's not going to work for West Indies. The better teams in the world have selected. Both India and Australia were making a mistake in the Caribbean, honestly. It's a mistake.
Because selectors are people who are knowledgeable.
Yeah, but
that's such a very interesting and informative discussion between Andrew Mason, Philo Wallace, and Lockhart Sebastian. I feel like they're sitting back and continue listening to that level of discussion, that high level discussion. But I'm forced to make a contribution. And the first I want to make is the honorable players for the tour to Sri Lanka. Pooran, Russell, Hossain, and Hetmyer. Hossain has been given an international contract, a 1-year international contract, and Hossain makes himself unavailable. If he's ill, let us know that he's ill. But West Indies need to go beyond Pooran, Russell, and Hetmyer. These guys are not interested in West Indies cricket, and West Indies need to go beyond that one way or the other. The other area that I want to speak on very briefly, Andrew Mason and Philo Wallace. Philo Wallace was a very aggressive batsman. Thompson Fox and myself, we are Cave Hill persons. We went to Cave Hill campus. And remember you all very well in Barbados. Philo Wallace, very aggressive. And then Andrew Mason, very articulate commentator. Remember meeting you, Andrew Mason, in Grazettes. Yeah.
I wonder if he remembers that, Ron.
Andrew, what were you doing there?
I hope you didn't go for ham cutter.
It is famous ham cutters.
All Yui boys. And what I want to do is to do a brief comparison with the IPL and the CPL. Very briefly, very briefly.
Sure.
Well, we look at the IPL. It started with the ICL, India Cricket League, from 2007, and Kapil Dev was very involved.
No, that was a different league. Eh?
Yeah, a different league.
It wasn't sanctioned by the ICC.
The Board of Control of Cricket in India saw the potential in the league in the 2020, and they took it over. It moved from the ICL to the IPL in 2008, and some of the players were even banned. The most interesting thing that's happened with the IPL, it's its positive contribution to the cricket in India. The IPL, since the IPL came into operation, we saw a transformation in cricket in India. The international players have come in, they've played around the local players, and the BCCI has used the IPL to develop cricket in India. And look at where India cricket is today. India cricket is developed exceedingly well today. Look at West Indies now. West Indies started in 2006 under our partner Stanford. Stanford started in 2020 in 2006. And it was taken over by the West Indies Cricket Board later on in 2010. The CPL started in 2013. And interestingly, I'm not too sure about that. I've learned about an European owning the CPL. Lockhart Sebastian is talking about a 99-year lease. I saw a 50-year lease. And it's a deal that's very secretive and dubious with an external party. What is the CPL doing to assist the development of West Indies cricket, similarly as the IPL has done for India cricket?
You see, the thing is about the IPL is that the IPL is controlled by the BCCI.
Exactly.
The CPL is not controlled by the CWI. The CPL is run by a private organization.
What's the name of that private organization?
Pardon me?
What's the name of the private organization?
I don't know. Pete Russell, I think, is the CEO or whoever he is, but I don't know what the other organization name is. But Cricket West Indies don't control CPL. They're just assist in CPL. They might sit in meetings with CPL to help formulate certain things because they will use the CWI staff around CPL as well. Because you would see that our team manager Roy Lewis has been the team manager for the Royals for the last 10 years.
You mean for the Kings? The Kings
for the last 10 years, and nobody explains how our international coaching staff works for these franchises. That baffles me as well. So when you have no control over a product, you have to take what they are giving you.
True.
So CWI is in the seat where they just have to accept what CPL is offering, and that is it. But the BCCI, they control IPL. All the profits come into BCCI, and then they distribute their profits however they distribute them across India. You just saw them a couple of weeks ago opening a spanking new high performance center that can rival anything in the world with swimming pool and all kind of thing. Those are the funds that are being used for cricket development. We've just had a T20 World Cup. Where's our legacy? What is coming out of the 2024 World Cup? So these are things that the BCCI has control over, but CWI don't control CPL. So we won't see the development that we are looking at in our players and our facilities coming out of a CPL tournament. Because when you look at it, the people who run CPL are all foreigners.
Yes.
Do you think that they have local bank accounts in Caribbean?
No.
So how do you see it, Philo? You see it staying in that format? Or do you see Cricket West Indies trying to gain more control of the CPL to assist in development of cricket in the West Indies?
A legal document has been signed called a contract. And none of us in this program don't know what that contract contains. We don't even know the exit clause, if there's one.
If there's one, yeah. That's
so
true.
presidents will come and presidents will go, and CPL contract cannot be touched because they've signed the contract how many years ago? And they signed it for 50 years. And if CPL and if Cricket West Indies want to break away from it, then there'll be a breach of contract, and then they will have to pay CPL. Does West Indies have that money to pay? No. So they have to sit back, don't drown, keep on a life mask or some oxygen, and continue to swim and get the little pittance that they get. That is the way I see it, because the contract has been signed for 50 years, and CPL is getting bigger.
Gentlemen, just turn the line. We're going to take a small break. We'll be back. Don't move. Take a small ad break.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fenced pipe, and Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Looking for a quiet, relaxing place to stay? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Leaving the office late and need somewhere close to town? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Have business clients coming in and need accommodation? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Looking for group accommodation? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Located at 37 Goodwill Road in Portersville, upstairs ACS Supermarket. Enjoy our semi-self-contained rooms with private washroom, bathroom, Wi-Fi, air condition, cable network, mini refrigerator, all in a non-smoking environment. Call or WhatsApp at 1767-275-1899 or email us at info@portersplaceguesthouse.com to make your reservations. Porter's Place, your home away from home. Fit for a king, a queen, and all their royal subjects.
Okay. We're back. Dr. Fontaine, I think you had a question for the gentleman.
Yes, sure, certainly. I wanted to move very quickly to the upcoming tour, West Indies, Sri Lanka. We have seen a kind of a resurgent Sri Lanka, and I was curious as to what our guests think about West Indies' chances in Sri Lanka.
Well, Sri Lanka at home is always a difficult proposition. They've turned the corner with performances. They've brought in Sanef Jayasuriya. He was the interim coach. He was chairman of selectors. He was the interim coach for a couple of series, but they've done so well that they decided now to employ him up to 2026 to the T20 World Cup. Mm-hmm. And he's obviously looking at bringing back that Sri Lankan flair of playing cricket, which the players already have said that it is working. So West Indies will have their work cut out in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is going to be hot, difficult. The pitches are going to be difficult. When I toured Sri Lanka with the West Indies team, my mantra was hit the ball with the bat and don't put your pad. So you have to adjust. And they are on a high. They've beaten India. They've won test matches against New Zealand. They've won test matches in England. So going into the T20 series, they have confidence. And that is going to be a key element in Sri Lanka's play. West Indies have to go there and obviously make the adjustment rather quickly. And they shouldn't be out of form because some of them are now coming out of the CPL. And they should look to go there and play a good, solid T20 cricket. You know, the pitches might be spin-friendly, but you need to be able to bat on them and score runs. I think anything in excess of 160 will give them a chance. If they don't score in excess of 160 in those T20 games, the Sri Lankans are going to wipe the floor with them because the young captain at Sri Lanka, he's been doing really well as a white ball captain. And all these are things that brings a team together. We know that our T20 squad captain has not really been batting well in the CPL. So he's going to Sri Lanka on a downer. It's up to the coach now and the management team to bring that spirit of winning into the side and drive it through the captain, who then drives it into the playing 11. So it's going to be important how well we start in order to survive in Sri Lanka, because following this T20 series, there's going to be one-day cricket. Mm-hmm. So it is going to be difficult. And then after the series, you come home to face England. Mm-hmm. And you see what England are doing with Pakistan already. Some of those players come to the Caribbean. So it's going to be tricky.
Andrew?
Yeah, that's an interesting point Philo's making. And I think it's an opportunity for someone like a Shamar Springer, who has made that squad. In fact, I was just looking at it. I think he's a decent cricketer. There's no question about that. And Alec Hatton is your Dominican who has been up and down. And the question being asked, is he really a T20 cricketer? He had one or two reasonable scores for the Royals, but I suspect didn't do as well as you would have wanted him to do. Fabian Allen is back in the side. He's been in and out of the West Indies side. And of course, Andrea Fletcher. He's 37 now or something of that sort. There can be no justifiable reason for bringing him back. And I really felt the opportunity should have been for some younger cricketers, because remember, gentlemen, we should be looking towards the next T20 World Cup. Who are the young players? Because Fletcher's not going to go to the next T20 World Cup. He's not going to. So therefore, you could have looked, in my view, towards a young cricketer and start to blood him for that. In terms of Sri Lanka, Philo's right. Playing at home is not going to be easy at all. No question about that. And I just want to make a point in terms of the ODI squad. There's one cricketer in the Caribbean that when you look at that cricketer, he went to Australia, bowled pretty well, batted very well. And can you imagine, in the last Super 50 competition, did extremely well and cannot get into the West Indies side. Who am I
talking about? Graves? You're talking about Graves?
Graves.
But you think Joel Andrew, but they've selected Joel Andrew.
No, that's not right. Dr. Fontaine, that's not right at all. He's been unfair. In fact, he was lucky not to. In terms of going to England, he was very lucky. He should have gone to England, given his performances in Australia. A decent bowler, a more than capable batsman, an excellent fielder, and he's been treated very, very poorly. But in answer to the question, I expect it to be a very, very tough series in Sri Lanka.
And the thing too about Justin Graves is that you felt that he went to Australia because Jason Holder didn't go.
Yes.
And he didn't go to England because Jason Holder was taken.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you're right, Philo.
Correct. Yeah, that's
true.
Jason
Holder's not going to Sri Lanka, but he can't get into the squad. So where's the consistency and fairness?
Well, again, that's why I said, Philo, there are no selectors, so you don't know who you can point fingers at, and that's the problem. Anyway, gentlemen, good things have to come to an end sometimes, and I am happy that both of you all were on the program with us. I'm sure listeners who are listening attentively. It was lovely speaking to both of you guys. We'll do it again at some point, but we have to come to the end of our program because there's another program coming right after. And I just want to say thanks to both of you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. No problem at all. Always a pleasure.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Philo. I know it's late. It's what, 1 o'clock now?
Yes, please.
1 a.m. Anyway, try and get a good night's sleep, my brother. Try and get a good night's sleep.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Right.
Take care, Andrew. Yeah.
All the best.
Yeah, take care. So, yeah, guys. So, we've coming to the end, guys. By the way, West Indies play Sunday morning, 9:30. First T20 in Sri Lanka. Sunday morning at 9:30. So I guess people can. And next week, Tuesday, the women play a crucial match against England. They have to win to qualify for the semi-final.
But they are the top. They are the top now on
net run rate, but they have to play England.
Yeah.
South Africa has an easier draw. South Africa has to play Bangladesh. So West Indies have to win against England and win well and it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. England, as you know, is one of the strongest teams in the world. So West Indies has the tougher part. South Africa has the easier part. So on Tuesday, West Indies play England. So on that note, guys, I want to say good night. Everybody, next week we will have the former president of Cricket West Indies, Dave Cameron, with us to tell us, all the going on in the West Indies cricket now. So on behalf
not only that, Jamaica cricket. What's happening in Jamaica cricket?
Well, he will tell us all that.
Yeah.
So on behalf of Ronald Lander, Dr. Fontaine, Emmanuel Loblack, Andrew Mason, Philo Wallace, I just want to say good night to everybody. You'll hear us again next week. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.